Are you dreading your next home repair? Don't. Crew Pros is your one-call solution for everything your home needs. Whether it's heating and air, plumbing, complete roof replacement, whole home generators, and electrical repairs. Our professionals get the job done right. Crew Pros is your single source for high-quality home services at affordable prices. For everything your home needs, Crew Pros. Remodel, repair, replace.
Memphis. Nothing but Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee, the beautiful land in the world.
And I'm thankful for this guy who tweeted and said, I don't have that fire in my eye no more. That game right there was for him. That's what I do. I prove people wrong each and every night, and that's for him right there.
Hi, this is Tom Izzo at Michigan State, and you're listening to Grizz 901.
What up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to another episode of Grizz 901, presented by the good people over at Zach Jaworski State Farm, where they treat you like family. The Grizzlies just dropped one of the ugliest games all season. It was one of those ones that you kind of think about, like how well they were playing to how bad they played. We're going to get into that, break down the entire game, but then we're also going to get into a little bit of what's been happening. A lot of the talk has been recently about Ja and just not being maybe as confident within himself and not being himself. What does the offense look like? How are these guys just kind of working together? It looks so well in the first half. It was a tale of two halves today, and we're going to get into all that. I will be your guy steering the ship, but we know we got to bring in my other guy. Yo, what's up, man? What's up?
I'll be okay. I hated that. I hated watching that so much.
Yeah, the Grizzlies take it on the chin there, and I think I was talking over in Bluff City Bets. Shout out to our Discord channel there. I was talking about one of the guys. He had the Grizzlies money line right into a play, and I said, I would pause on that because I just don't know. It's a Sunday afternoon. The Grizzlies don't have as much to play for, so I was completely just taken aback on that one. I was just like, slow down. And then the Grizzlies come out in the first half, and they just look like the best team, the best version of themselves. And then the second half happened where they were outscored by 36 points, 75 to 39 in the second half. That was one of the more probably tale of two halves, like I said earlier, where the Grizzlies just look so good to where they just look so bad.
I just hated it so much. That's about all I have. I mean, the first half they were rolling, things were coming easy, people were hitting shots, and then the second half they just I put out there, I think it's a candidate for the softest loss of the season. They just let the Bulls dictate and dominate, and I think you hit the nail on the head. The Bulls had a lot more to play for. The Bulls cared a lot more about this one. I mean, you saw at the end of the game, the only person who was mad about something was Jaren, who had a right to be mad, by the way. That dude got hacked, continues to get hacked under the rim every night and not get any foul calls. 4 free throws tonight? So he got called for foul. He got 2 foul calls under there.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, the whistle that he gets on one end and then the whistle he won't get on another end. So he has every right to be mad. And I bet Taylor's pretty pissed about that. But yeah, the Bulls were locked in. They turned the ball over once. Yeah. The Grizzlies turned it over 18 times.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get what happened there. And I, have been myself saying that the Grizzlies just did not look like themselves. They just really wasn't playing within themselves in a sense, because it was a game that they had all of everything coming to them easy, just as you said. But it just seemed like when times got tough, they just kind of broke down their core values. They broke down the actions that they were running. And honestly, they were settling for 3-point shots. And that's why, if you look at the numbers, they don't look that bad. But if you actually look at the halftime numbers, the Grizzlies were shooting out of their mind. Obviously, you always come back to, usually the cream rises to the top. You kind of settle back to the median. But the Grizzlies just kind of the second half allowed them to keep playing as they were shooting so well, but they actually weren't shooting well. And so the Bulls just kind of guarded the 3-point line a little bit better. And that's really the only thing that changed much on their end. The Grizzlies just not shoot well, but they also didn't find open shots. And so I have been talking a lot about the Grizzlies, and it looked like they were not finding the open shooter there. And we'll get into a little bit about Ja stuff, but did you see anything that kind of looked off to you? Because it looked like it was a game where the first half, obviously, as we said, it just was easy. But the second half, is there something that stuck out to you that maybe, allowed them to not work as easy as they should have?
No, they were lazy. It was a lazy
Is
loss.
that simple?
Yes. I mean, of course, there's going to be technical things that happen. What it comes down to is it was a lazy loss. When you generate 3 turnovers, give up 18 turnovers, and lose the points off turnover battle 31-0, it was clear they just weren't asserting themselves, right? And then they try and say, oh, well, we're going to turn it on now. But it's like, okay, now you're just going to force things into a team that's locked in on the defensive end, and you can't flip the switch. It was a lazy loss. The first half, it wasn't like anything was going crazy in the first half. They just got what they wanted to get. And then as soon as the Bulls impeded on that, they decided, okay, well, that's that, right? Yeah. I mean, of course, there's technical things that go into it. But even the technical things spring from just a lack of effort. I think they took this one for granted going into halftime and then couldn't make any adjustments. They were never able to stop the bleeding in the second half when they wanted to try and turn it back on.
Yeah. And that's what I don't understand. So if you look at these numbers, right, obviously they can be deceiving because you could take it from whatever, side of it you wanted to go to. But if you look at just these simple numbers, the Grizzlies 29 assists to the Bulls 29 assists, right? So that seems like the ball was popping. But I guarantee if you looked at the halftime line on those assists, you would probably see a little bit different, right? But let's get down to here. Steals. The Bulls 9 to the Grizzlies 1. You don't see a Memphis Grizzlies team with 1 steal the entire game. Like Jaren, who got the steal, I believe, he usually averages that himself. And so let's look at Desmond Bane and Ja, Tyus. All of them usually are handsy with the ball, and they're usually getting deflections and getting a lot of kickouts, right, to easy points, right, get the ball rolling. But then looking at the blocks, 3-6, total turnovers were 18-3. The Grizzlies had 18 turnovers, and the Bulls 31 points off of those 18 turnovers. That is a big one because those are easy points. Those are runouts. And so there's nothing you can do on that defensively besides, hey, we're probably going to suck this time down the court, so let's just let somebody hang back, right? That's not it. It's just you're turning the ball over. You got free range of the bucket.
And they got outscored. So they got scored in the paint 36-70. It was one team wanting it more. That's what it was. And it points to one thing that we obviously want to hear good news about. We obviously got a mic check at the beginning of the game from Mike Wallace on the broadcast, but Steven Adams will help with that, right? Help with some stuff in the paint. But it doesn't matter. Steven Adams or no Steven Adams. If the Grizzlies are locked in and playing to their potential and playing the way they want to play and asserting themselves, they don't get outscored 36-70 in the paint. By the way, they outscored the Bulls by 30 from the 3-point line. They had the same number of assists. I think let me double check this. They did out-rebound them. They got outscored at the free throw line. Shout out Ed Malloy. But other than that, it was turnovers, being lazy, points in the paint. Usually an indication of one team being lazy.
Yeah.
Especially a team like the Grizzlies that thrives in the paint. So I don't take much from this game. It was gross to watch, but I don't think it's indicative of much other than the hole we already know is there with Steven Adams. I think it was a lazy loss on a 1:30 Sunday game where they thought they had it in the bag.
Yeah. I agree with your sentiment there, David Vickers. First half was awesome. and that was it. That's where my fun ended, was after halftime when they went to their locker rooms and they came out. My fun was over. It was watching a funeral in a sense. But what I will say is the sky is not falling. Okay, we're not going to be certain people on Twitter. Shout out to you. You know who you are. Don't be that guy.
Look at me. I was right. Look at me. The Grizzlies are struggling. I'm right.
Hey,
Name
listen,
that character.
we'll be petty all day, every day, but don't be that guy. Okay. Listen, the Grizzlies, they very much are going to be completely fine. I still stand on the mountaintop and I will scream it. The Grizzlies are going to be fine. They're going to be okay. They're going to probably get the second seed. Okay. What this does, okay, a loss like this, and I've said this many a times before, losses like this allow a coach to actually coach. It allows Taylor Jenkins' voice to be heard, because what happens is they literally know that they effed up, right? That they did not play well. They didn't play with the energy. They didn't play, aggressive. They didn't look good. But they also can teach back the moment of the first half of, this is what you were doing right, and this is the learning lesson that comes from that. So not all is lost in a loss like this. I'm not trying to look at the positive side of things, and I don't want to get a moral victory. Okay, I want a victory because I want to win, but I'm also going to look at it from a smart person side of view, and I'm going to say, hey, sometimes when you play that bad, that's just a game film that you just trash. But it also allows the coach to teach. And so this will be a game that Taylor and his staff look back on and can show them that when things get going bad, you need to get to your certain actions, get to these actions and get out of that funk, because that's really all it was. They got caught in a funk and they could not get out. It was just, they just needed a tub of ice cream and they'll be okay tonight.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking at these numbers. I'm trying to put the quick math is not coming to me. But any game that you see that the Grizzlies shoot 19 for 43 from three, and that's more than their opponent, you assume they won that game handily, right? And it was just such a off game. Again, I'm miserable because that was worse than having a stomach bug to watch. But it was like, but I'm not taking anything from it, right? There's nothing from it where I'm like, if they saw the Bulls in the playoffs, I'd be like, thank you. I take that over a lot of the teams that are hovering around 6, 7, 8 in the West, right? So it's a one-off game. They were disinterested. They were clearly disinterested, and it was gross. I'm sad. I'm mad. I don't like Ed Malloy anymore, but that's about all I got from this game.
Listen, I'm not going to put too much on the refs. I'm not saying they're great, right, at all. It
did not matter one little bit. The Grizzlies were losing this game no matter what. It was still not great. It was still not fun to watch.
No, it was definitely ugly. We have so much we want to get into. Obviously, Taylor is on the podium right now, and so I know he's going to share some insight. And so, listen, this is great. Thank you, Luke. Luke says, Nate sounds like his dog just died. Like,
honestly, back in Tennessee, my beagle's about 16. She might have, but I don't think she'll die. I don't think that dog will ever die. So,
all right. So there's not much you can take me out of a good mood today. This loss sucked. But if you can see my shirt, okay. Listen, this is it's WrestleMania weekend. I know a bunch of you nerds are just like me, and you probably watch wrestling in general. It's kind of it's the Super Bowl for us, but it's a fun day, right? And the Grizzlies, they take the loss on the chin, but I will not be brought under Nate's spell and become a Debbie Down. I'm not going to be angry. Sorry.
I'm not Debbie Downing. I'm saying what all of us said, which was probably not nice words at the TV. Like, what the F are you guys doing? This is disgusting. This is gross. This is like having to watch The Bachelor. That's how gross this is. It's despicable. But it's okay. The rest of my day is going to be great. Once this is over, boom, flush out. Make sure they don't flush it. They have to watch all this game film. Hopefully they'll all get food poisoning and be sick after watching it.
Gross.
But my day is going to be great after this. It's going to be wonderful. Not no sad Sally. Luke.
Shout out, Luke. All right. So weirdly enough, there are no games Monday night. Obviously, it's the championship game for NCAA, UConn versus San Diego State. But the Grizzlies do return on Tuesday against the Trailblazers. That will be definitely a get-right game. One team is trying to make sure they win. One team is trying to make sure they lose. That'll be a get-right game for sure. We'll hit on those expectations for that game in general, but maybe down the stretch. We're also going to hit on a little bit of what Ja is going through right now, because it looks like he's a little out of it. It looks like he's trying to find his way. That was probably the most uneventful triple-double out of him that I've probably have seen his entire career.
He's trying to figure it out. I talked about this with Funaki after the Clippers game. You and I talked about this before he ever came back. It's going to be that way, right? It was always going to take a minute, and they brought him off the bench, which delayed him having to figure it out. Then he came back, and it's a couple of easy games, so it didn't stand out as much. Them figuring out how to integrate Ja and the way his game is played with Jaren and the way the rest of the team thrived while he was out is going to take a minute to find the best of both worlds. It's just going to be that way, right? And they've got a few more games left. That's why I'm not convinced that they're going to be sitting and taking things easy after this next game, right? Like, I think they come out, they want to beat the Blazers. They come out, like, it's Bucks their next game or Pelicans? I think it's Pelicans, then Bucks, then Thunder, right?
Who?
Pelicans, Bucks, Thunder. Is that the order their games are in? Whatever it is.
I think
the
Grizzlies?
The Grizzlies, yeah.
I don't know. They play the Trailblazers. I actually just said that. Thanks for paying attention.
Okay, I said after the Trailblazers, dude.
Hey, maybe
not the day, attention. Daniel.
Pelicans, Bucks, Thunder.
Not the afternoon.
Pelicans, Bucks, Thunder, and that is
that's what I said. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening, Dan.
You're right. I'm the one that didn't listen. The Grizz. That's a back-to-back, and I do want to talk about that. And we'll talk about that. The last thing we hit on. I have a small surprise. I have a little special thing I want to do at the very, very end of this show, so stay tuned. It'll be actually, really cool. It'll be a lot of fun.
Postmates me some ice cream? You should.
I wish.
You shouldn't have. So I think they will sit everybody the Thunder game, but I don't think they sit everybody before then because they're still putting these pieces together, and that's what makes me think they're going to play this out until the very end. And then if maybe they want to do some seed jockeying in that last game, I sort of doubt it, but they accept whatever they accept in the last game. But yeah, I think it was always going to be a struggle when Ja came back in. And so I'm not surprised in the slightest to see that happening. I don't think anything's wrong with Ja. I don't think it's like, oh, he's this down and out dude. I think he's trying to figure out, how do I play my game and be the superstar that I can be, but making sure I bring all these other guys in. That's not an easy line to walk, right? And they're putting those pieces together. And so is something look weird? Yeah. Is it, oh, Ja's out of it, Ja's checked out, Ja doesn't want, like, Ja's lost his confidence? No, I don't think it's anything along those lines. We saw what he did in that first quarter, in the first half. They're going to put the pieces together. It's going to take more games. It's going to be okay.
Wow. I actually do want to hit on that. So we're going to hit on the confidence of 12 after this. Zach Jaworski State Farm is our presenting sponsor. They are good people. I want to send out our thoughts and prayers to the people out in Covington, as well as Arkansas and the surrounding areas. The storms that just came through, this is not about insurance. This is just thoughts about a lot of people that were affected by that. And just say that honestly, insurance is a big deal. It really is. And so if you are, for some reason, looking for insurance, that way you can be a little bit more prepared when, like storms like that do come through again. Go ahead and give Zach and his team a call at 901-794-3691. If you want a free quote, go over to ZachInsuresMemphis.com. That's Z-A-C-H, ZachInsuresMemphis.com. They have offices in East Memphis as well as Collierville, but make sure you give them a call, whether it is auto, home, or anything else. Just kind of make sure that you have enough insurance, that you're taking care of yourself, that you feel confident moving forward. But again, I want to give our thoughts and prayers out to the people that were affected, because this is real life. And when it kind of hits you in the front door, you kind of see it from a very close up perspective. And so anything that we can do as a team here at Grizz 901, anything that we can do at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. Be more than happy to assist in however much or however way we can. But let's go ahead and get into not an easy transition to go back, but let's go back to the confidence of 12. Ja Morant, obviously everybody heard, I guess, that little audio clip of what he was saying. it was taken out a little bit of context because I think Parker was Parker Fleming. If you follow him, he was actually sharing a little bit more of the context of where it came from. Somebody asked him a certain question, so that's why he was sharing about getting integrated into the offense, stuff like that. But I do want to hit on the integration of the offense as well as his confidence, and take it however way you want to go to. But I think he's lost a little bit of confidence, and I don't think it's because he isn't the player that he is. I think it's because he's kind of lost it due to he's trying to find his way, and he doesn't know exactly how to be reactionary, right? Ja is very much a guy who you're getting through your lane, a double team comes, it's just split second, you split the double team, go to the rim. He's very much a reactionary player. And I think now he's having to be just a step slower because he's just not confident in what direction and which way to go within this offense.
But I think that's the same thing. I don't think that's a confidence thing. I think it is, okay, I'm trying to figure this out. But I don't think he questions whether or not he can figure it out. He's questioning what he should or shouldn't do. But I don't think that's
he's not confident. He's not confident in the right play to make.
That's not a questioning of him and his ability. He didn't question what he can do. Okay. He's questioning what's the right play. And I think if you're saying, oh, he's not confident in what's the right play, yeah. But that's the same thing. It's reintegrating. What should I do to make everyone around me thrive? And I think we're overblowing this into, oh, he's lost his confidence in himself. No.
Okay.
No, he hasn't lost his confidence in himself. He's trying to figure out how to maximize the team. He's not confident in that yet. No one is, because no one knows how. They're trying to put those pieces together, right? Yeah. But that's a lot different than him being like, oh, I can't go be Ja.
Okay.
That's not what it is. And you look at tonight, you know what the biggest part of this was? The Bulls bench put up 41 points. The Grizzlies bench put up 18. I just looked at those numbers because I was like, wow, that bench looks bad. The Grizzlies starters outscored the Bulls starters. If it was just a game of starters, the Grizzlies won this game 89-87. They won it by 2. How much did they lose by? 21?
Yeah.
I mean, it was just the Bulls bench popped off. But you look at Ja, he only had 17 points, but he also had 10 and 10. Jaren goes up for 31 points. Dylan shot really well in the first half, so he got a bunch of points. I don't remember what those numbers were. But then Bane played really well. So it's 21 for Bane, 14 for Brooks, 70 for Ja, 31 for Jaren. Outside of the turnover stuff, the starters played really well, including Ja Morant. I think we're overblowing this. He's trying. It looks bad because it happens in the most important parts of the game in the fourth quarter when they're trying to figure out what do we do. And that's where it shows up, where he just needs to be more assertive. He needs to be more assertive and be aggressive and be the guy in those moments. But it's all this part of the same thing of them trying to figure out how are they going to maximize the team, not Ja. Because we saw what the team could be while Ja was out. How do you make that happen with Ja there? And the truth is, to an extent, it's not going to, because the ball needs to be in his hands and he needs to be aggressive. But it's not right now. What you're seeing is him dribble around the perimeter, trying to find those openings for his teammates. Yeah. And the truth is, he's not a three-point threat. So the same way that Tyus is guarded around the perimeter, Ja's not going to be guarded around the perimeter. That's not going to happen. They need to put the ball in his hands, have the same dribble drive stuff they always do. Then they kick it out, and then the ball gets popping. But he initiates with that dribble drive. Right now, he's dancing around the perimeter trying to find out, how do we get Jaren the ball? Yeah. That's a big one. And Jaren, by the way, you got to find a way to give him an entry pass in the post. You can't give him an entry pass 1 foot in from the three-point line and expect good things to happen. They've got to figure that out. That's a team thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of that you said. I'm going to unpack that a little bit from Dak Daniels. He said that Ja's overthinking it a little bit. Like, he's picked up his dribble in weird times, in several possessions. And he's just trying to figure out where to go. It's kind of like he's rerouting the whole time.
Yeah. And I don't disagree with any of it. But when people are sitting mad saying, oh, Ja's not confident, it's like, we all said they needed to figure out how to play the same offense with him in there. Yeah. He's trying to figure out how to do that. And to act like his game is the same as Tyus Jones is moronic. Yeah. It's ignorant to say, like, expect it to be the same thing. It's not. They got to
Yeah.
figure it out. That doesn't mean he's not confident in himself.
Yeah, listen, I agree with that. On one of your the screen thing, maybe with Jaren is, he's losing. He doesn't have that screen anymore because obviously Steve-O's not there. But it has worked, right, with X. It didn't work as much today, right? But he has to figure out a way that you were talking about is getting the screen and getting downhill. And I think that's a little bit of the confidence that he has lost. Is I think he's trying to overthink it, such as Dak Daniels said. He's trying to overthink it because usually you get the ball and you go, right? He's downhill. But right now he's hesitating, looking for his people and then going instead of going. And then if he has the open lane, we want Ja Morant to get to the front of the rim. Like that is the best version of this team because what that does is that brings up the bottom of the defense, right? Everybody has to overhelp. Usually everybody has to leave a man or two. And at that point, that's when he can kick out to the people. But I also don't understand why he doesn't kick out when he needs to. Like sometimes he's getting and maybe double teamed and he's not kicking out to one Luke Kennard today. Like it was weird that I saw that he was passing up chances to kick it out to Luke. And then he would completely turn around and look on the other side of the court and look to Dylan Brooks. That is the opposite way that I'm looking. Like I'm looking, and if I see Luke, I'm pass it to him for a quick shot. Worst case, the worst possible case, I'm looking at Dylan Brooks, even though he did shoot well in the first half. I'm looking to kick it out to Luke. And I just felt like he was not getting it to him, who is one of our best shooters on the team.
Well, and I think that's a result of the overthinking. There was one where you text us in the group text after he missed him at the end of a shot clock. And that one, I thought specifically it was he knew the clock was winding down. He was just trying to get a shot off more than he was passing up Luke. I just don't think he had an awareness. He had time to get it to him. But in general, I think it's the same thing. It's overthinking. And we agree that he's overthinking. We just disagree on whether or not to say, I don't think that's a confidence. Oh, Ja's lost all his confidence. I think that's a very weird way of putting that.
Yeah.
I think that he's
his
absolutely
confidence in his
overthinking.
game, though.
No, I don't think it's in his game. I think Ja thinks he can go out and do exactly what he was doing before he got suspended. I think he knows the best thing for this team is to figure out how him and Jaren can be maximized together, and he's trying to figure out how to do that. And the team is trying to figure out how to do that. But that's where the difference is. I don't think it's, I can't go do. He knows he can do what he was doing before.
Yeah.
We've seen him do it since he's been back. You saw him do it when Jaren was out, by the way. In that Clippers game, he popped off, right?
Right.
It's trying to figure out how to maximize with Jaren and Dez and everybody else in there. It's not, I can't do this. And so if you're saying he's overthinking, absolutely.
Okay.
But if you're saying he doesn't think he has that ability, no, we're not at all on the same page. And I don't see that.
Yeah, no, I definitely think he's overthinking it 100%.
Yeah,
whatever.
absolutely.
I think we're splitting hairs to the point, but yes, I think he's lost confidence in his game a tiny bit. But listen, if we don't agree, we don't agree, right? That's the beauty of this. But we can 100% agree that he is absolutely overthinking this. We're not gonna
full first take, undisputed.
Yeah. We're not going to pull that. We're not going to be those people. But I really do think that there is some validity to the confidence part of it. But 100%, the overthinking is the nail on the head with Ja, because he is just struggling to find his way within this team, within this offense. But I also think this is big for the coaching staff, how to get them in the right actions, how to get them into the right plays, to get them to maximize their potential. Obviously, when they're getting up and down the court, everything looks good. Ja can be himself. But it's when those half-court offense where he can actually run a clear offense, whether it is instead of using X to become the guy who's the screener, maybe use Jaren there, because that actually might open up the offense a little bit. You get Jaren rolling. Obviously, Jaren sometimes can get a foul because he's coming downhill a little too fast. But in the end of the day, I really do think that this has a chance to really kind of, change the chapter, change the page a little bit, and see if they can open up and unlock some of their other stuff. But one thing I want to ask you, Jaren, it seems like he's falling in love with that left hand a little too much. And I know this is an off-season deal, but why is it that he doesn't turn? He's beating people up with that left hand, but they're giving him the baseline usually if he's coming off that side. So he's getting to the middle of his left hand. They give him the spin. I just don't know why he doesn't take that, because he can obviously spin and explode and hit a layup or a dunk with that right hand. I don't know why he's making it so hard on himself going into the teeth of the defense and making sure he goes to that left hand.
I think he's just not confident in it yet. He just rushes himself when he gets there. But I think it's twofold. One, he's afraid of getting the offensive foul call because he's had issues in the post, bumping too many times and hooking. And I think he spins a lot of time. When he spins, he hooks to open that up just with the elbow. It's never a big wide hook, right? But he hooks with the elbow a little bit. But also, I think he's probably reaching a bit of a boiling point with his whistle, right? I mean, games like tonight, it's just, again, I don't think the officiating at all influenced the way this game turned out. At the same time, I'm watching Jaren just get hacked underneath there and not get any calls. And I don't, if I'm losing my mind from the comfort of my couch, then I can't imagine he's not losing his mind, right? I mean, and so he's probably like, well, I'm not going to get a call, so I better get this shot up as quick as I can while I have an opening.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think it's twofold. He's not super confident in the move itself. He's worried about getting an offensive foul, and he is not confident that he's going to get the whistle. And in his defense, he hasn't. So I think it's a bit of a threefold issue there. But he's got to just get more comfortable in the offseason on that.
Yeah, I think that is a chance for him to actually develop his game. And I hope, I know, and he hasn't had an offseason that isn't just kind of marred by injuries of some sort, right?
Yeah.
I hope whatever happens this year for the betterment of Jaren, I hope that he has a healthy offseason where he can work on little things like that. I think that would be very important for him, because you're talking about unlocking his potential. Like, we've seen him just kind of catapult into the person he is this year. I can't imagine how much higher of a step he takes when he's able to work on and develop some of that game, because you're talking about 2-pound dribbles, 2 hard dribbles into the inside, spin back right side, and then kind of explode into the dunk. Like, that is the ultimate Jaren, right? If he can do that. We saw that a little bit with Vucevic tonight, where he went inside, and then comes back with like a little bitty hook, went to the window there. And so I think that little moves like that can allow you to not get fouls, because, I think that's the biggest thing, but also a little bit of touch. And I think Jaren has enough touch where he could spin either way and get shots like that. I think it'd be big.
And again, he had 31 and 8 tonight.
Yeah.
Like,
so you're saying he can get better?
There's a lot of things to nitpick. I wanted to point this out because that's something I hit on earlier, but our boy Funaki just sent us this tweet. He sent out, shout out to Funaki coming on last game. Also, that was awesome. Always loved being able to visit with him for a bit. But tonight was only the 4th time in the last decade that the Grizzlies have lost when shooting better than 40% from 3 and winning the rebound battle by more than 10. It was such an outlier game tonight, right? And so when we sit here, we were saying, oh, Ja looks terrible. Jaren has to stay out of foul trouble. Ed Malloy sucks. Man, that one may be true. It's such an outlier game, right? They got 30 more points from the 3-point line than their opponent and out-rebounded them by 10 and lost by 21. Throw this one out. This one is one that we're going to throw out. Again, it was a soft loss. It was lazy. Burn the film. Watch it to make yourself sick if you're a Grizzlies player. Burn the film.
Burn it, baby. Burn it. I like that. Anything else you want to hit on between just this game or anything else before we kind of get into some expectations in the next 4?
If Luke Kennard shoots worse than 40% from 3 in another game this season, Steven Adams needs to actually choke him out. I'm not having it. Luke, I'm just playing. He was due less than 40% game. So, again, it was an outlier game. I got nothing else.
Yeah, it definitely was. And all in all, the Grizzlies take the loss, right? 128-107. But they're going to be better for it. I just feel like over these next 4 games that the Grizzlies have, they're going to allow themselves a chance to secure that number 2 spot, but also a chance to really start kind of trying to figure some things out and get the ball rolling. We're going to hit on the last 4 games, but I do want to say that if you are watching this on Twitter, join us over at YouTube. We would love to have you, especially the live comments that we get to chat about, because we can't see the comments on Twitter. But the other thing is my goal. This is my personal goal. I have not told anybody at Bluff City Media, but because we're doing these live shows, they're doing big numbers. Okay, so one, I want to say thank you to that. But the second thing I want to say is, if you're not subscribed on YouTube, just subscribe on YouTube, please. We would love to have that. But my goal is 1,000 subscribers on YouTube this season. Okay, we have a week left. We had, and I'm going to say this, we had over 30,000 people watch the last show, and I think it was whatever the crazy number was before that. Like, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of you, so thank you. But hey, push that subscribe button on YouTube. I want to get that number up to 1,000. I think it would be big. It'd be big for us because we are the main live show with Bluff City Media. And so since coming over there, we've done some good things. And so I just want to blow it up, completely blow it up in the playoffs. And so we got a week left. I just want to just see if we can get people to come over there and just push the subscribe button.
Despite what your timeline may say, the Grizzlies have had a great season and have a great future in front of them for this season itself. So come on in, baby.
Come on.
Join in the fun. Was it a Chappelle show? Rick James. That's what it is. Come here, darkness. I love that.
Come on, darkness, my friend. All right. So Grizzlies have 4 games. They obviously take on the Trailblazers on a Tuesday night, and then the back-to-back, they go on the road the rest of the 3, and that's the Pelicans on Wednesday. And then they followed up by a Friday and a Sunday, and that's going to be Friday the Bucks. And then Sunday at a 2:30, another matinee game against the Thunder. What's the record for the Grizzlies over those next 4?
I'd say 2-2.
Okay. Does that secure the 2 spot?
We're lay up on the Kings.
They're a game and a half. They played a day
by the end of the night.
They're going to be a game up. After
be a game up. Who's Sac got the rest of the way?
So Sacramento still plays the Pelicans Tuesday. Mavericks, who are fighting to get in. Pelicans are fighting to get in. Those are going to be 2 tough games. Warriors are looking, and then the Nuggets, who that game probably won't matter, but obviously it could matter. But the Grizzlies also have the Thunder, so I'm curious on what that number might be.
I honestly don't know. After that game, I thought they would win this game, even if it was ugly. I'm thinking they might drop to the 3 seed, to be honest. I see the Kings. So let's look at the Kings games. Pelicans. Yep. I'd say that's a toss-up, but I'd give the edge to the Kings. Mavs.
Pelicans on the road.
Kings. Warriors.
That's a back-to-back.
Maybe, man, but it's
I think
Mavs.
They go 2-2.
I think the Mavs are brutal.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a chance. It's up in the air. It could go either way, to be honest. I think if the Grizzlies want to hold on to that 2 seed, they care to hold on that 2 seed, they will. I just don't think it's that much of a point of contention for them. Personally, due to what people like to say on Twitter, I hope they do. But other than that, I really don't have much of an investment in it either. So we'll see. It's anyone's game at this point.
I agree. The Mavs do suck, so I will agree on that. But I will say that both defenses are garbage between the Mavs and the Kings. And so I think it will be an offensive explosion. And I think in a game like that, you can actually have the Mavs win a game like that. So I think the Grizzlies go 2-2. I think they have the game there in OKC if they need to win. Just looking at the standings with OKC is at the 10 spot, right? And so depending on how it all plays out, they could actually have that game wrapped up as well, because they could be in the 10 or the 9 seed with no movement. And so there's a lot that could play out, right? We don't want to get too crazy in that because I still think that there is a lot to play for with defense, with these teams and their terrible defenses between the Kings and the Mavs. So it's going to be fun.
And one thing that is underrated is the Pelicans are more motivated than the Grizzlies and the Kings over these last few games, because they are a half game out of a guaranteed spot in the playoffs. And so it's for that 6th seed. And so they could be really motivated to beat Memphis and Sac. There's just a lot of things at play.
All right. That's all I have on that one. So I do want to bring in 2 people on the show. And so I did not tell Nate about this at all, but I want to bring in 2 people. So y'all want to join the show? Stand up. All right. So I have friends here with me. Come on in. All right. So y'all can't hear, right? Because we're on here, but I can hear. So everybody, we just went to our first Grizzlies game as a family. The girls got it. Can y'all wave to everybody? You wave. All right, so we went to our first Grizzlies game as a family, and so we went Friday night. Unfortunately, the storms happened, right? But we had a blast, and so I want to bring the girls in real quick as we end the show because I think it'll be fun to kind of hear a little bit from them. But this is Margot. We'll let Margot go first. You good with going first? All right, we'll let Margot go first. All right, so Margot, it was your first Grizzly game ever. What was your most fun thing about the game?
Elijah was there.
No, talk normal. What did you like the most? Grizz?
Mm-hmm.
Whose birthday was it?
Grizzlies.
It's Grizz's birthday. So Margot loves the Grizz, and so she's probably his biggest fan, and she's always wanted to meet him. We haven't had a chance to actually introduce the 2 yet.
But got Margot's a little cutout still? She has a little cutout, right? The Grizz cutout?
She does have it. Show them your hand. Put your hand down. She got the Grizz. It's hard to see. The Grizz, Super Grizz on her hand. And so Margot's a big Grizz fan in general. She likes Ja, and they like Bane as well. So, but yeah, it was Grizz's birthday Friday, and these 2 girls love birthdays. And so it was a good time. All right, let's bring in Penelope. Penelope, your most favorite thing at the game? Really? Like, this is a live show. We can't just like not talk. Like, what was your most favorite thing? The beginning?
Mm-hmm.
What was at the beginning?
Like where Grizz came out, the mascots, and like smoke came up.
The introductions, and then so she likes the introductions. So so obviously, if you can't tell, this is a Grizz. We're a big Grizz fan at this house, and so it was a good time. So they had a blast, and they're always asleep usually when we're doing these podcasts, and so I thought it'd be kind of fun to do a Sunday afternoon where we're here all at the house, and they're having to be quiet for me in the background, the rest of the house. So, all right, Nate, do you have anything? Because these girls are going to actually take us out tonight. They've been practicing. I've been trying to get them to practice, so they're going to take us out of here.
It's fun, man. Obviously everyone on the show hadn't seen it, but those girls are that shy when they're in person normally too, until you bring up Grizzly stuff, and then they start bringing out like all their little cutouts. That's why I know about the Grizz thing and the jerseys and the big heads. And so they are an extremely Grizz filled supporting house. And that was the silence is not indicative of what they usually do when you bring up the Grizzlies. So it's fun to have them actually be able to come on the show for once.
Yep, it was a good time. So I told them that we're gonna bring them on here. I did not tell them we're gonna ask questions, so I guess I should have prepared them a little bit better. But it was all good. But that's all we have. It's been a great week, especially just for us in general. The first week of being with Bluff City Media has been a blast. If you have a chance, go sign up and be an insider with Bluff City Media. You can use code Grizz901 and get 10% off. It'll be fun if you like to bet. We're in Bluff City Bets over there, and follow them as well on their Twitter. Follow us at Grizz901. But please, we want to get the subscribers up to 1,000. All it takes is a little bit of you. Go over there, push the subscribe button, and I promise you we'll hit that. We can hit that today if everybody just goes over there and does that now. So that's all we have. The girls are going to take us out, and we'll see y'all Tuesday night. All right. What do we say? What do you say?
Be nice and tell your friends.
That's right.